Okay, Hari Om everyone. Jai Shri Krishna. Welcome to our online Gita Parayan and Satsang, the second session for this year. Just a quick reminder that the upcoming event we are going to have under Gita Jayanti will be the Gita Havan. It will be on Sunday, 27th of July, 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. We are going to start with Ganapati Homam. We're going to start, then have Krishna Shtotra Puja, and then we will have the chanting of all of the 18 chapters of the Gita, and Ahuti will be offered. Everyone is welcome to offer Ahuti. So please do join us, and please also invite your friends and your family to join us on this very auspicious occasion. Around 12 o'clock, Swami Abhyananda, who is the resident Acharya of the Chinmaya Mission, will grace us with his presence, and he will also speak for about 15 to 20 minutes before we have the Mahadeeparadhana, followed by lunch prasadam for everyone. So again, please make a note for yourself, and please do also remind your friends and family to join us on this auspicious occasion. With those words, let us start our online Gita Parayan and Satsang for today. We will have invocation prayers followed by a welcome address, and we will follow the process which we have been following for the last few years. We will have a Gita Dhyanam followed by the Parayan of Gita chapter 2, Gita Mahatmyam, and then we will have Sri Balaji Ramaswamy, who will be giving us a lecture on chapter 2 of the Gita. So let's start. I will invite Sanyaji and Alkaji to please get us started by chanting the invocation prayers.
Sahana bhavatu sahanau bhunaktu sahaviryam karavavahai tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shuklam Bharadaram Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyaye Sarva Vignopashantaye. Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurureva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha.
I will now invite Dr. Shirish Johari, who is the president of the Malwa Cultural Association, one of the organizations who has been the lead organization. Shirish ji, please join us. Please help us deliver. Please help deliver the welcome address. Shirish ji, you're on mute. Yes, just give me a minute, Shirish ji, yes.
Okay, thank you, Anandji, for kind introduction. Hari Om, Jai Shri Krishna. My pranam and humble obeisance to all Gita Jayanti organizers, all the devotees, all supporters and volunteers. It's a matter of pride that Gita Jayanti now is into its 28th successful year. Starting as a small group of devotees, now this team has grown into a big spiritual trees. So kudos to them. Malwa Association is proud to be connected with Gita Jayanti for last almost 5 years, and we were humbled enough and privileged to be granted the status of host organization in the year 2023. Since then, Malwa Association has seen a team of self-motivated, dedicated, and devoted members who are always ready and available for Gita Jayanti cause. So thanks Gita Jayanti team. I would like to say a few words about Malwa because we are a little less known organization. So basically, we are a representation of Madhya Pradesh diaspora in Singapore. Malwa is a province in the western Madhya Pradesh, which borders with Gujarat, Rajasthan, and Maharashtra. And we have a special connection with Bhagavan Krishna. So when we read about Krishna's life story, we hear the cities like Dwarka, Mathura, and Vrindavan, but not many may be aware that Sri Krishna's education took place in Malwa. So if you visit Ujjain, which is a spiritual city, houses and the main Jyotirlinga, which is Mahakaleshwar, it also houses Guru Sandipani Ashram, which is Gurukul of Maharshi Sandipani. That's where Bhagavan Krishna, his brother Balram, we call him Baldavji in local slang, and Sudama had studied. So the Krishna-Sudama friendship grew in Malwa. So Maharshi Sandipani Ashram is another place of pilgrimage in Ujjain. And there is a small Gomati Kund, which is a small water reservoir. It is said that Bhagavan Krishna summoned holy waters from all over to be concentrated in this Gomati Kund so that gurus and shishya don't have to travel long distances for the holy dip. And this is where Bhagavan learned 64 arts and 14 sciences. So it's a 64 kala and 14 science or 14 vidya. Those vidya were 4 Veda, 4 Upaved, and then Vedangas. So that's how proud we Malwa people are to have hosted Sri Krishna during his childhood. So today, as a representative of Malwa Cultural Association, I am honored to be delivering this welcome note. Thank you very much, Srinivasan ji and the entire Gita Jayanti team for this privilege. And today is Navami day of Krishna Paksh of Shravan. So Shravan Mase Krishna Pakshe Navami Divase. In other words, this is Krishna Navami, where Bhagavan Vishnu is in Yoga Nidra during Chaturmas, but the entire cosmos is charged with Shiva Tattva. So what an auspicious day to chant chapter 2. No day can be more relevant than this. And I'm also privileged to hear a revered Guru, Sri Balaji Ramaswamy. I actually saw some of his videos and his explanations are really very, very clear. So we look forward to be immersing into chapter 2, that is Sankhya Yoga, Karma Yoga, and a state of self-realization, which is Sthita Prajna. Few more words to say about Malwa Association's members' dedication, that majority of our members are expatriates. And when we move country, there are always apprehensions and concerns about the local food, local education system, but also whether we will be able to follow our faith, whether we will be able to continue our Hindu practices, and how do we inculcate Hindu values amongst our children. So Gita Jayanti team answers all these, allays all these apprehension, and not only it gives us a platform for our generation Z to learn, but also to immerse into the depth of Gita. So thank you very much, Gita Jayanti team. And let us now hear from the Guru himself. I would like to recite this shlok. Let me emphasize that I'm trying to refrain from anglicizing the word, like shloka it has to be shlok, or yoga has to be yog. Similarly, Ved and Puran are Ved Puran, not Vedas and Puranas, as we are trained to anglicize them. So I would like to recite this shlok to honor our today's speaker. Tad vidhi tat pranipatena pariprashnen sevaya upadeshakti उपदेशकृष्यन्ति te jnanam jnaninastatvadarshinaha. So I express my heartfelt appreciation to the Gita Jayanti team and welcome you all to this today's session of Gita Parayan. Thank you very much. Over to you, Anandji. Thank you. My pranam.
Thank you very much, Surishji. Thank you for those very kind words, which have heralded an auspicious beginning to the session 2 that we are going to have. Our speaker, Shri Balaji Ramaswamy, will address us in a little while. You just have to hold on for a little while. Before that, we are going to have Gita Dhyanam, and we are going to have the Parayan of chapter 2. We'll do the Parayan first, and then we will have a chance to listen to the explanation of what those verses mean. I'm going to invite again Sanyaji and Alkaji. They are both long-time participants in the Gita chanting competition, and they're also winners of the Gita chanting competition this year. So it is our privilege that they have been able to join us today to chant the Gita shlokas. Over to you, Sanyaji and Alkaji. We will begin with Gita Dhyanam.
Thank you. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatvam Anusandadhami Bhagavad Gita Bhavadveshini. Namostu te Vyasa Vishala Buddhe Pullara Vindayata Patra Netra Yena Tvaya Bharata Taila Purnaha Prajvalito Jnanamaya Pradipaha Prapanna Parijataya Totra Vetraika Panaye Jnanamudraya Krishnaya Gitamritaduhe Namaha. Sarvopanishado Gavo Dogdha Gopalanandanaha Partho Vatsa Sudhir Bhokta Dugdham Gitamritam Mahad Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Bhishmadrona Tata Jayadratha Jala Gandhara Nilotpala Shalyagrahavati Kripena Vahani Karnena Velakula Ashwathama Vikarna Ghora Makara Duryodhana Vartini Sotirna Khalu Pandavairana Nadi Kaivartaka Keshavaha Parasharyavachas Sarojamamalam Gitarthagandhotkatam Nanakhyanakesaram Harikatha Sambodhana Bodhitam Loke Sajjana Shatpadairaharaha Pepiyamanam Muda Bhuyad Bharata Pankajam Kalimala Pradvamsina Shreyase Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yat kripatamaham vande paramananda madhavam yam brahma varunendra rudra marutaha stunvanti divyaistavaihi वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुः सुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः।
ॐ श्री परमात्मने नमः। अथ द्वितीयोऽध्यायः सांख्ययोगः। सञ्जय उवाच तं तथा कृपयाविष्टम् अश्रुपूर्णाकुलेक्षणं विषीदन्तमिदौ वाक्यम् उवाच मधुसूदनः। श्रीभगवानुवाच कुतस्त्वाकश्मलमिदं विषमे समुपस्थितम् अनार्यजुष्टमस्वर्ग्यम् अकीर्तिकरमर्जुन। क्लैब्यं मास्मगमः पार्थ नैतत्त्वेयुपपद्यते। क्षुद्रं हृदय दौर्बल्यं त्यक्त्वोत्तिष्ठ परन्तप। अर्जुन उवाच कथं भीष्ममहं सङ्ख्ये द्रोणं च मधुसूदन इषुभिः प्रतियोत्स्यामि पूजार्हा वरिसूदन। गुरून् हत्वा हि महानुभावान् श्रेयो भोक्तुं भैक्ष्यमपीह लोके। हत्वार्थकामौस्तु गुरूनिहैव भुञ्जीय भोगान् रुधिरप्रदिग्धान्। न चैतद्विद्मः कतरन्नो गरीयः यद्वा जयेम यदि वा नो जयेयुः। यानेव हत्वा न जिजीविषामः तेव स्थिताः प्रमुखे धार्तराष्ट्राः। कार्पण्यदोषोपहतः स्वभावः पृच्छामि त्वां धर्मसम्मूढचेताः। यच्छ्रेयस्यान्निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेहौषाधिमान् त्वां प्रपन्नम्। न हि प्रपश्यामि ममापनुद्यात् यच्छोकमुच्छोषणमिन्द्रियाणाम्। अवाप्य भूमा वसपत्नमृद्धं राज्यौ सुराणामपि चाधिपत्यम्। सञ्जय उवाच एवमुक्त्वा ऋषिकेशं गुडाकेशः परन्तप न योत्स्य इति गोविन्दम् उक्त्वा तूष्णीं बभूवः। तमुवाच ऋषिकेशः प्रहसन्निव भारत सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये विषीदन्तमितो वचः। श्रीभगवानुवाच अशोच्यानन्वशोचस्त्वं प्रज्ञावादांश्च भाषसे गतासु न गतासूंश्च नानुशोचन्ति पण्डिताः। न त्वेवाहं जातु नासं न त्वन्नेमे जनाधिपाः न चैव न भविष्यामः सर्वे वयमतः परम्। देहिनोऽस्मिन् यथा देहे कौमारे यौवनं जरा तथा देहान्तरप्राप्तिः धीरस्तत्र न मुह्यति। मात्रा स्पर्शास्तु कौन्तेय शीतोष्णसुखदुःखदाः आगमापायिनो नित्याः तांस्ति तितिक्षस्व भारत। यौ हि न व्यथयन्त्येते पुरुषं पुरुषर्षभ समदुःखसुखं धीरं सोऽमृतत्वाय कल्पते। नासतो विद्यते भावः नाभावो विद्यते सतः उभयोरपि दृष्टोऽन्तः त्वनयोस्तत्त्वदर्शिभिः। अविनाशि तु तद्विद्धि येन सर्वमिदं ततं विनाशमव्ययस्यास्य न कश्चित् कर्तुम् अर्हति। अन्तवन्त इमे देहाः नित्यस्योक्ता शरीरिणः अनाशिनो प्रमेयस्य तस्माद्युध्यस्व भारत य एनौ वेत्ति हन्तारं यश्चैनं मन्यते हतम् उभौ तौ न विजानीतः नायं हन्ति न हन्यते न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचित् नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणः न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे वेदा विनाशिनं नित्यं य एनमजमव्ययं कथं स पुरुषः पार्थ कं घातयति हन्तिकं वासांसि जीर्णानि यथा विहाय नवानि गृह्णाति नरोपराणि तथा शरीराणि विहाय जीर्णानि अन्यानि संयाति नवानि देहि नैनं छिन्दन्ति शस्त्राणि नैनं दहति पावकः न चैनं क्लेदयन्त्यापः न शोषयति मारुतः अच्छेद्योऽयमदाह्योऽयम् अक्लेद्यो शोष्य एव च नित्यः सर्वगतस्थाणुः अचलोऽयं सनातनः अव्यक्तोऽयमचिन्त्योऽयम् अविकार्योऽयमुच्यते तस्मादेवं विदित्वैनं नानुशोचितुमर्हसि
अथ चैनं नित्यजातं नित्यं वा मन्यसे मृतं तथापि त्वं महाबाहो नैवं शोचितुमर्हसि जातस्य हि ध्रुवो मृत्युः ध्रुवं जन्म मृतस्य च तस्मादपरिहार्येऽर्थे न त्वं शोचितुमर्हसि अव्यक्तादीनि भूतानि व्यक्तमध्यानि भारत अव्यक्तनिधनान्येव तत्र का परिदेवना आश्चर्यवत् पश्यति कश्चिदेनम् आश्चर्यवद्वदति तथैव चान्यः आश्चर्यवच्चैनमन्यः शृणोति श्रुत्वाप्येनं वेद न चैव कश्चित् देहि नित्यमवध्योऽयं देहे सर्वस्य भारत तस्मात् सर्वाणि भूतानि न त्वं शोचितुम् अर्हसि स्वधर्ममपि चावेक्ष्य न विकम्पितुम् अर्हसि धर्म्याद्धियुद्धात् श्रेयोऽन्यत् क्षत्रियस्य न विद्यते यदृच्छया चोपपन्नं स्वर्गद्वारमपावृतं सुखिनः क्षत्रियाः पार्थ लभन्ते युद्धमीदृशम् अथ चेत्त्वमिमं धर्म्यं सङ्ग्रामं न करिष्यसि ततः स्वधर्मं कीर्तिं च हित्वा पापमवाप्स्यसि अकीर्तिं चापि भूतानि कथयिष्यन्ति ते व्ययां सम्भावितस्य चाकीर्तिः मरणादतिरिच्यते भयाद्रणादुपरतं मंस्यन्ते त्वां महारथाः येषां च त्वं बहुमतः भूत्वा यास्यसि लाघवम् अवाच्यवादांश्च बहून् वदिष्यन्ति तवाहिताः निन्दन्तस्तव सामर्थ्यं ततो दुःखतरन्नु किम् हतो वा प्राप्स्यसि स्वर्गं जित्वा वा भोक्ष्यसे महीं तस्मादुत्तिष्ठ कौन्तेय युद्धाय कृतनिश्चयः सुखदुःखे समे कृत्वा लाभालाभौ जयाजयौ ततो युद्धाय युज्यस्व नैवं पापमवाप्स्यसि एषा ते भिहिता साङ्ख्ये बुद्धिर्योगे त्विमां शृणु बुद्ध्या युक्तो यया पार्थ कर्मबन्धं प्रहास्यसि नेहाभिक्रमनाशोऽस्ति प्रत्यवायो न विद्यते स्वल्पमप्यस्य धर्मस्य त्रायते महतो भयात् व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धिः एकेह कुरु नन्दन बहुशाखा ह्यनन्ताश्च बुद्धयो व्यवसायिनां यामिमां पुष्पितां वाचं प्रवदन्त्यविपश्चितः वेदवादरताः पार्थ नान्यदस्तीनिवादिनः कामात्मानः स्वर्गपराः जन्मकर्मफलप्रदां क्रियाविशेषबहुलां भोगैश्वर्यगतिं प्रति भोगैश्वर्यप्रसक्तानां तयापहृतचेतसां व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धिः समाधौ न विधीयते त्रैगुण्यविषया वेदाः निस्त्रैगुण्यो भवार्जुन निर्द्वन्द्वो नित्यसत्त्वस्थः निर्योगक्षेम आत्मवान् यावानर्थ उदपाने सर्वतः सम्प्लुतोदके तावान् सर्वेषु वेदेषु ब्राह्मणस्य विजानतः कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्मफलहेतुर्भू मा ते सङ्गोऽस्त्वकर्मणि योगस्थः कुरु कर्माणि सङ्गं त्यक्त्वा धनञ्जय सिद्ध्यसिद्ध्यो समो भूत्वा समत्वं योग उच्यते दूरेण ह्यवरं कर्म बुद्धियोगात् धनञ्जय बुद्धौ शरणमन्विच्छ कृपणाः फलहेतवः बुद्धियुक्तो जहातीह उभे सुकृतदुष्कृते तस्माद्योगाय युज्यस्व योगः कर्मसु कौशलम् कर्मजं बुद्धियुक्ता हि फलं त्यक्त्वा मनीषिणः जन्मबन्धविनिर्मुक्ताः पदं गच्छन्त्यनामयम् यदा ते मोहकलिलं बुद्धिर्व्यतितरिष्यति तदा गन्तासि निर्वेदं श्रोतव्यस्य श्रुतस्य च श्रुतिविप्रतिपन्ना ते यदा स्थास्यति निश्चला समाधावचला बुद्धिः तदा योगमवाप्स्यसि अर्जुन उवाच स्थितप्रज्ञस्य का भाषा समाधिस्थस्य केशव स्थिताधि किं प्रभाते शेत किमासीत व्रजेत किम् श्रीभगवानुवाच प्रजहाति यदा कामन् सर्वान् पार्थमनोगतान् आत्मन्येवात्मना तुष्टः स्थितप्रज्ञस्तदोच्यते दुःखेष्वनुद्विग्नमनाः सुखेषु विगतस्पृहः वीतरागभयक्रोधः स्थितधीर्मुनिरुच्यते यः सर्वत्र नभिस्नेहः तत्तत्प्राप्य शुभाशुभं नाभिनन्दति न द्वेष्टि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता यदा संहरते चायं कूर्मोऽङ्गानीव सर्वशः इन्द्रियाणीन्द्रियार्थेभ्यः तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता विषया विनिवर्तन्ते निराहारस्य देहिनः रसवर्जं रसोऽप्यस्य परं दृष्ट्वा निवर्तते यततो ह्यापि कौन्तेय पुरुषस्य विपश्चितः इन्द्रियाणि प्रमाथीनि हरन्ति प्रसभं मनः तानि सर्वाणि संयम्य युक्त आसीत मत्परः वशे हि यस्येन्द्रियाणि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसः सङ्गस्तेषूपजायते सङ्गात् सञ्जायते कामः कामात् क्रोधोऽभिजायते क्रोधाद् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृतिविभ्रमः स्मृतिभ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशोः बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति रागद्वेषवियुक्तैस्तु विषया निन्द्रयेश्चरन् विधेयात्मा प्रसादमधिगच्छति प्रसादे सर्वदुःखानां हानिरस्योपजायते प्रसन्नचेतसो ह्याशु बुद्धिः पर्यवतिष्ठते नास्ति बुद्धिरयुक्तस्य न चायुक्तस्य भावना न चाभावयतः शान्तिः अशान्तस्य कुतः सुखम् इन्द्रियाणां हि चरतां यन्मनोनुविधीयते तदस्य हरति प्रज्ञां वायुर्नावमि वाम्भसि तस्माद्यस्य महाबाहो निगृहीतानि सर्वशः इन्द्रियाणीन्द्रियार्थेभ्यः तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता या निशा सर्वभूतानां तस्यां जागर्तिं संयमी यस्यां जाग्रति भूतानि सा निशा पश्यतो मुनेः आपूर्यमाणमचलप्रतिष्ठं समुद्रमापः प्रवशन्ति यद्वत् तद्वत् कामायं प्रविशन्ति सर्वे न शान्तिमाप्नोति न कामकामी विहाय कामान्यः सर्वान् पुंश्चरति निःस्पृहः निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः स शान्तिमधिगच्छति एषा ब्राह्मी स्थितिः पार्थ नैनां प्राप्य विमुह्यति स्थित्वा स्यामन्तकालेऽपि ब्रह्मा निर्वाणमृच्छति ॐ तत्सत् इति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे सांख्ययोगो नाम द्वितीयोऽध्यायः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु
We'll chant the Gita Mahatmyam. Gita Shastramidam Punyam Yah Patet Prayatah Puman Vishnoh Padamabapnoti Bhayashokadi Varjitah Gita Dhyayana Shilasya Pranayama Parasya Cha Naiva Santihi Papani Purvajanma Kritani Cha Malanirmochanam Pumsam Jalasnanam dine dine Sakrit Gitam Bhasisnanam Samsara Malanashanam Gita Sugita Kartavya Kimanye Shastra Visnaraihi Yaswayam Padmanabhasya Mukha Padmad Vinisrita Bharatamrita Sarvaswam Vishnor Vinisritam Gita Gangodakam Pitva Punarjanmana Vidyate Sarvopanishado Gavaha Dogdha Gopalanandanaha Partho vatsa sudhir bhokta dugdham Gitamritam mahate ekam shastram devaki putra Gitam eko devo devaki putra eva eko mantrastasya namani yani karmapyekam tasya devasya seva. Thank you, Sanyaji and Alkaji, for your chanting of chapter 2. We will now invite Sri Balaji Ramaswamy to deliver the session lecture on Gita chapter 2.
I'll share my screen.
Yes, please go ahead.
Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, we are able to see your screen.
Om Tvameva Mata cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartribhyo Vamsarishibhyo Mahadbhyo Namo Gurubhyah Sarvopaplavarahita Prajnana Ganaha Pratyagarto Brahmaivahamasmi. Om Prapanna Parijataya Totra Vetraikapanaye Jnana Mudraya Krishnaya Gitamritaduhe Namaha. I offer my respectful prostrations to the Guru Parampara, the unbroken lineage of teachers who have preserved and passed down this wisdom of Bhagavad Gita through generations. Pranams, everyone. I also offer my sincere gratitude to Sri J. Srinivasan ji and the Singapore Gita Jayanti Committee for their kind invitation and for giving me this opportunity to reflect on this timeless teachings of Bhagavad Gita, particularly chapter 2, which lays the philosophical foundation of the entire Gita. Now, this second chapter is basically a summary of the entire Bhagavad Gita, we can say that way, because it contains all the pertinent points in a summarized form. The Gita consists of 18 chapters. All the pertinent points are summarized in this second chapter. And there are many topics that are discussed in this chapter containing 72 slokas. But the chapter can be broadly classified into 4 parts. The first part is from verse 1 to 10, which is the Arjuna Sharanagati part. Then the second part from verse 11 to verse 38 is the Jnana Yoga part. And then comes the third part, which is from verse 39 to 53, which can be termed as Karma Yoga. And finally, from verse 54 till the end of the chapter 72, that can be called as either Sthira Prajna portion or Sthita Prajna portion. Now, for us to understand Arjuna Sharanagati, we must recall what happened in chapter 1. And the first 10 verses of the chapter 2 are actually a direct continuation of Arjuna's emotional struggle from the first chapter. Now, in the first chapter, what happened was Arjuna faced a deep inner problem, the problem of samsara. And it happened in the most unexpected place on the battlefield. Now, what is this problem of samsara? It is the problem of raga, which is attachment, shoka, which is grief or sorrow, and moha, which is confusion or delusion. Now, these are not just Arjuna's problems. They are human problems that all of us face at different times in life. When you take raga means attachment. If even for Arjuna, he's not facing a new issue. It is not that he's facing this issue only in this battlefield. This attachment has been always there with him. But now in this kind of high pressure moment, that problem comes to the surface, and it comes with full intensity for him. And as I said, this is not Arjuna's problem. This is universal human condition. Every one of us, we have an object of attachment. We have more than one object of attachment. It could be a person, it could be a relation, it could be a role, it could be a situation, it could be some object of possession, it could be our own image of success or duty. The only thing is that the object of attachments can vary or can differ from person to person. But the problem of attachment, that is universal. It is with all of us. And what we understand, or what Shastra says, is wherever there is raga, wherever there is attachment, the grief or the shoka naturally follows. In fact, in the first chapter, the grief that Arjuna experiences is called Vishadaha, sorrow born out of attachment. And that's why it's called as Arjuna Vishada Yoga. And this problem of grief or shoka arises mainly due to two reasons. One, the fear of losing what we are attached to. So when we are deeply attached to something, we don't want to lose it. We wish that person or that object or that situation would stay with us forever. Even though we know intellectually that everything in this world is temporary, that change and loss are part of life, we tend to forget this law of creation. We want our object of attachment to be permanent. And this inner resistance to this impermanence is one major cause of grief or sorrow. The second reason, the second type of grief is even more subtle. Sometimes the loss has not even happened, but we start imagining it. It could be even our health, it could be our relationships, it could be a situation. And this is what happened to Arjuna. He was deeply attached to Bhishma and Drona. They were still alive. The war had not yet started. But he imagines their death in the battle and sees himself surviving without them. Now that imaginary loss is too painful for him to handle. So Arjuna suffers not from an actual loss, but from a mental projection of loss. Most of our inner worries are all mental projections of things that have not happened yet. And that is the same with Arjuna as well there. And that causes deep sorrow. And this is the second form of shoka. And it is the second problem of samsara. Shoka is the second problem of samsara. Now, when the mind is caught in attachment, raga and shoka, grief, something else happens. What happens is the mind loses its clarity. It can no longer think clearly. It can no longer judge rightly. It cannot distinguish between dharma and adharma, what is right, what is wrong. This confusion is called moha, delusion. That's exactly what happens to Arjuna. He says, it is wrong to fight this war. It is adharma to kill elders. But this conclusion is not based on clear thinking. It is the result of his mental conflict, his delusion. So instead of standing firm in his Kshatriya dharma, Arjuna wants to run away from the battlefield. So we could see in chapter 1, Arjuna is overwhelmed by raga, shoka, and moha. Now, this is the condition of samsara. And what happens? Arjuna tries to handle this inner turmoil on his own without any guidance as first. Just like when we have any issues, health issues, we try to fix it ourselves without going to the doctor. And during this time, Bhagavan remains silent because Arjuna had not asked for his help. Bhagavan is not willing to give any help. All of this build-up of this emotional conflict, the breakdown of clarity, and his inability to act. He drops his Gandiva and sits. His inability to act all happens in chapter 1 of the Gita. Now, at the beginning of chapter 2, something important happens. Arjuna comes to a turning point. He recognizes his own helplessness. This is what the Gita calls as Karpanya dosha. And unless we truly feel helpless, we don't surrender to Ishvara or a Guru. As long as we think I can manage my own, I am capable of managing my life, I am capable of doing what I want, there will be no openness to deeper learning. There will be no surrender to Ishvara or Guru. Now, Arjuna expresses his helplessness in his own words, where he says, Karpanya dosho pahata swabhavaha prichami tvam dharma sammuda chetaha. Now, what happened was his inner strength had collapsed, his clarity is lost, and he knows he can't move forward. At this moment, Arjuna begins looking forward, looking around for support. Just like a drowning person who is ready to hold on to anything that can save him. Now, Arjuna was fortunate. He had with him not an ordinary person, but Bhagavan Narayana himself in the form of Sri Krishna. And so we say, Partaya pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam. And so Arjuna surrenders. And there is a deep change here. He now shifts his view of Krishna. Now Bhagavan is no more a charioteer, he is now a guru. But this shift is not about Krishna. It is about Arjuna. He has now become a qualified Shishya. And by what? By surrendering. The importance of surrender is it cannot be expressed deep. If the student is not inwardly ready, even if the greatest of the gurus is nearby, the connection will not happen. And surrender is an important attribute for a Shishya. And surrender can happen only if you drop your ahankara. And Arjuna becomes a Shishya, he drops his ahankara, his self-will, his pride, his resistance, and he says, Yat shreyasyan nishchitam bruhitan me shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapannam. He says, please tell me clearly what is truly good for me. I am your disciple. Instruct me. I surrender to you. And at this moment, the channel of communication open. The guru is ready. The disciple is ready too. And this is the essence of Arjuna's Sharanagati. And it forms the first major topic of chapter 2 covered in shlokas 1 to 10. Now, the second topic from shloka 11 to 39. And this portion is we can call the central or main theme of the chapter. That is Jnana Yoga, or otherwise known as Sankhya Yoga. Both are synonymous. The second chapter title is titled Sankhya Yoga. And actually speaking, this Jnana Yoga portion is only from 11 to 25. And that portion is extremely important because it has the essence of all the Upanishads. And this is the foundation stone upon which all the other chapters are developed. And Bhagavan starts his Upadesha for Arjuna, who is afflicted by sorrow, who is afflicted by grief, by saying that there is no reason for your grief, there is no reason for sorrow, there is no reason for any grief. And he says, he starts with Ashocyan Anvashocastvam Prajnavadamshcha Bhashase Gatasu Nagatasumsha Nanushocanti Panditaha. He says the wise never grieve neither for the living nor for the dead. What he means is there is no real reason for any sorrow. Or if there is any sorrow, that sorrow will continue to remain as long as the reason is there. And Bhagavan introduces the real reason. He says the real reason for our sorrow is our ignorance. And therefore, a wise man, Pandita, who does not have any ignorance, will never feel grief or sorrow. Thus, Bhagavan gave the Gita Saram, the essence of Gita, in his first Upadesha Shloka itself. And therefore, it is important to understand what is the primary purpose of Gita Shastra. While Bhagavad Gita addresses many important topics, it talks about dharma, it talks about karma, it talks about bhakti, it talks about jnana. Its central purpose is something deeper. The Gita Shastra is not merely about Bhagavan asking Arjuna to fight, nor it is only a simple message about doing one's own duties. The central aim of Gita Shastra is to help the seeker remove grief, to free oneself from shoka, which is the core symptom of samsara. Now, how do we know that? This becomes clear when we apply this traditional logic of upakrama and upasamhara nyaya, the principle of looking at the beginning and the conclusion of a teaching. The Gita begins with Arjuna's deep sorrow, Vishadaha, and it ends with his clarity and freedom from grief. Therefore, we understand that the primary purpose of the Gita is shoka nivritti, removal of sorrow. And Bhagavan identified three possible causes for Arjuna's sorrow. One, a misunderstanding that the Atma of Bhishma and Drona dies upon the physical death. That's the first reason, possible reason. The second reason could be that an emotional attachment to their anatma, which is their bodies, their physical bodies, which is what we typically have. Our major problem is when we have an attachment over anybody, it is only on their physical body. And for Arjuna, this attachment, his imaginary law, the imaginary loss of Bhishma and Drona gives him sorrow. So that is the second reason. Then the third possible cause is because Arjuna had talked about dharma and adharma, a moral dilemma for him. Is it dharmic to destroy the bodies of Bhishma and Drona? And Bhagavan addresses all three possible causes. So first, for that misunderstanding that the Atma of Bhishma and Drona dies upon physical death, Bhagavan said this is not a valid reason, because Natve Vaham Jatu Nasham Natvam Neme Janadipaha Nachaiva Nabhavishyamaha Sarve Vayamatah Param. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. Bhagavan basically introduced that the concept of introduced Atma, consciousness, and he says consciousness does not get destroyed at any time. It does not die. Atma nityaha. It is eternal. And therefore, Arjuna, from Atma's standpoint, you need not feel sad, because you are not destroying the Atma. Even if you kill Bhishma and Drona, their Atma is eternal. And this portion between 11 to 25 is where we saw Atma Tattva slokas were given by Bhagavan. The slokas were either from Upanishads or were giving the concepts taught in Upanishads. And the second feature that Bhagavan conveyed was Atma Satyaha. Nasato vidyate bhavaha, na bhavo vidyate satah, ubayorapi drishtontah, tvanayos tattva darshibihi. Atma is a reality. It exists independently. And everything else is dependent on Atma. That was the second feature that Bhagavan gave. Then the third important feature that Bhagavan presents is Atma Sarvagataha. We think we are limited in this body, but no, Bhagavan says we are all pervading. That Atma is all pervading. Avinashitu tad vidhi, yena sarvam idham tatam, vinasham avyayasyasya, nakaschit kartum arhati. Consciousness is all pervading, but it is only evident in a reflecting medium. Chaitanyam is vyaktam, perceptible in the body, but outside of it, it is not vyaktam. Then the fourth feature that Bhagavan presents is Atma Aprameyaha. Aprameyaha means Atma is ever the experiencer, never the experienced. Antavantaime dehaha nityasyokta sharirinaha anashino prameyasya tasmat yudhyasva bharata. Atma is ever the subject. It is never the object. Just like a camera can click and take pictures of everything except the camera itself. So we cannot experience Atma. We cannot sit and meditate and say, I am going to meditate upon Atma and I will get the experience of Atma. Atma Anubhava is not possible. Then the fifth feature that Bhagavan gives is Atma Akarta Abhokta. Yayenam veti hantaram yaschainam manyate hatam ubhau tau na vijanitaha nayam hantina hanyate. Atma never does any action, therefore it does not reap the result of any action also. Atma is akarta, it has no connection with karma. Atma is abhokta, it has no connection with karma pala. We think I am doing. When we say I am doing, we have to understand it's the body and the mind which is doing the action, not the self, not the self, the Atma. Similarly, when we are going through pain, sorrow, happiness, joy, it is not the Atma which is experiencing it. It is the body and the mind which is experiencing it. Then the sixth feature that Bhagavan gave was Atma Nirvikaraha. Now, this is an important concept or an important feature. Bhagavan wants to underline this, and therefore he changes the meter of the sloka. He says, Najayate mriyate va kadachit nayam bhutva bhavita vanabhuyah ajo nitya shashvatoyam puranah na hanyate hanyamane sharire. Atma is free from all six modifications. We undergo 6 stages of modification according to Shastras. The first is the potential existence, which is called as Asti. Then there is, which is what when we are in the womb of the mother. Then there is the birth, physical birth, that is called as Jayate. Then we grow until the age of 25, 30, 25, we grow. That is called as Vardate. And then there is this change happening, Viparinimate, between 25 to 50. Then there is a decay, Apakshiyate. From 50 onwards, the body goes through some decay. Then finally, death or Vinashyati. These are called 6-fold modifications. Bhagavan says, Atma is Shad Vihara Rahitaha. This Atma does not undergo these changes. It is only the body which undergoes these changes. So Bhagavan wants Arjuna to recognize this Atma and presents this Jnana Yoga as a permanent remedy for all problems in life. So this jnana yoga is very important, and a person who has jnana has no grief or sorrow in this life. Now, if that is the case, should it be easy for us to understand? But Bhagavan says, no, it's not easy for everyone to comprehend. Bhagavan says, himself says that Ascharyavat pashyati kaschidenam Ascharyavat vadati tataiva chanyah Ascharyavaschainam anyashrunoti Shrutvapyenam vedana chaiva kaschit. Atma is the subtlest topic. It is too difficult for grasping. So we'll have to work for this jnana yogyata prapti. We have to qualify ourselves to receive this knowledge. And that is why Bhagavan will talk about karma yoga later in this chapter. But what Bhagavan wants to convey here in this portion is, Arjuna, from Atma standpoint, you need not feel sad. Now, the other two causes. Arjuna, remember Bhagavan had identified three possible causes for Arjuna's sorrow. The first one has been addressed. Now, the second one is Bhishma and Drona's anatma dying when they are killed, as in their body dying. Bhagavan says, even from that angle, Arjuna, you need not feel sorrow. Because everything that is born must die one day. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityuhu dhruvam janma mritasya cha tasmad apariharyete natvam shochitum arhasi. If the body is born, it must die. One should not feel sorrow for things that cannot be changed. For those that do not have parihara, you should not feel sorrow. We must accept that. Acceptance is important because the resistance to the things that is bound to happen, that resistance is called samsara. It can be good, it can be bad, but if I try to stop that from happening, that is called as samsara. Now, the third possible cause of Arjuna's sorrow, as thought through by Bhagavan, is from dharma standpoint. Is it dharma to kill Bhishma and Drona's bodies? It was like Arjuna saying, let the atmas remain as always. I mean, let them be eternal. Let the bodies die. It's okay. Anything that is to be born can die. But why should I kill them? Why should I be the cause? And here Bhagavan clarifies that Arjuna must fight this war from a dharmic standpoint. He has to fight because that is his swadharma. Swadharmamapi cha vekshya navikampitum arhasi dharmyadi yuddhat shreyonyat kshatriyasya na vidyate. From your dharma, swadharma standpoint, as a kshatriya Arjuna, you will have to uphold dharma. This is your duty, and therefore you will have to fight. Therefore, Bhagavan at the end, from these portions, from Atma standpoint, from Anatma standpoint, and from Dharmika Drishti, in whatever way we look, Bhagavan said, Arjuna, there is no reason for you to feel sorrow. There is no reason for you to feel grief. And thus Bhagavan ended or concluded this Jnana Yoga section. Now to the third topic, which is from Shloka 40 to 53. The topic is Karma Yoga. Now Karma Yoga is talked as a necessary step towards qualifying oneself for Jnana Yoga. It gives the Jnana Yogayata Prapti. Karma Yoga is not an end by itself. It will not give moksha, but it is a necessary step. As Swamiji says, Paramahansa Swamiji says, Karma Yoga is incomplete without Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga is impossible without Karma Yoga. So in this chapter, Bhagavan just gives a summary or essence of Karma Yoga. He does not go into detail, but the details are explained in the third chapter. Here first he starts with giving the glory of Karma Yoga. Neha Vikramana Shosti Pratyavayo na Vidyate Swalpamapyasya Dharmasya Trayate Mahato Bhayat. There is no failure while doing Karma Yoga. There is no adverse result as well. And he started glorifying Karma Yoga in this section. Then he used the word Vyavasayatmika Buddhi. The persons who can be single pointed in their mind and intellect. Now, these are the only ones who can attain the Purusharthas. Bhagavan criticizes people who are not single pointed. Bhagavan criticizes those people who are distracted and people who do their actions based on their desires. That is from Shloka 42 to 44, where it starts Yamimam Pushpitam Vacham Pravadantya Vipaschitaha. There, Bhagavan says, people who will be enamored, attracted into doing various Kamya karmas based on Veda Purva Bhaga for the sake of Artha Kama, for the sake of power, position, money, enjoyment, their intellect will not be steadfast. So thus in this portion between 40 to 44, Bhagavan praised Karma Yoga and he criticized karma. Then in the Shloka 47, Bhagavan gave the essence of Karma Yoga. Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phalaheturbuhu ma te sangostva karmani. He says one has the right, or one who has the choice over the actions. And he has the choice over actions only and not on the results. We can do whatever we want to do. We have a choice to not to do, or to do differently. But the result is not in our hands. Bhagavan wants that just because you think and you know that there is no choice over the results, you do not give up action. Bhagavan wants that. Do not give up action. You continue to do action even though you don't have a choice over the results. Then Bhagavan gives a shloka which defines Karma Yoga. Yogastakuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga vuchyate. Bhagavan defined Karma Yoga as samatvam, evenness of mind. Evenness in doing duties, as in whether I like my duty or I dislike my duty, I will have to continue doing my duty. That is Karma Yoga. I do not escape my duty. That is Karma Yoga. And then evenness in accepting the results of the action. The results of the action can be success, can be failure, can give me joy, can give me sorrow, can give me mana, can give me apamana also. But I will have to continue doing them. That is samatvam. That is the evenness of mind. That is Karma Yoga. Then in Shloka 50, Bhagavan gives another definition of Karma Yoga. He says, Buddhi yukto jahatiha ube sukrita dishkrite tasmat yogaya yujyasva yoga karma su kaushalam. Bhagavan defines Karma Yoga as yoga karma su kaushalam. Karma Yoga is about doing your action skillfully. Now, when we hear that skillfully doing action, it does not mean doing the action efficiently. It means the ability to convert an action that will cause attachment into an action that will not cause any attachment. This is a great skill. So what happens is, when we normally do any action, any karma, it will bind us. It will give us papa or punya. But when we are able to convert that action into Karma Yoga, it not only not binds us, but on the other hand, it helps us in removing the bondage. Thus, converting this karma into karma yoga is skill in action. Yoga karmasu kaushalam, Bhagavan says. Then in the last two slokas of this section, slokas 52 and 53, Bhagavan says, Yada te moha kalilam buddhir vyatita rishyati tada gantasi nirvedam shrotavyasya shrutasya cha. When your mind can fully transcend the dirt of delusion, then you can get detachment from the things that have been heard and that are yet to be heard. What does it mean? It means if the intellect is freed from delusion, one can attain vairagyam. In this world, people do a lot of things to attain various materialistic goals. We strive for money, we strive for power, we strive for health, we strive for property, holiday, a lot of things. But not many people strive for vairagya. Because vairagya is not easy to attain. Vairagya is the pinnacle of mental strength. What is vairagya? First of all, what is vairagya? Vairagya is not about aversion. Vairagya is not hatred. It is about removing the feeling to seek enjoyment from some sense objects. It is not about running away from sense objects also. It is about removing the feeling of seeking enjoyment from sense objects. It's there, okay. When does one attain vairagya? Only when the delusion leaves the person, one attains vairagya. Delusion meaning what is real, what is permanent, what is impermanent. That viveka. One must have this viveka shakti to have proper vairagya. Then the question is, how will this delusion go? By following the lifestyle of Karma Yoga. By following the lifestyle of Karma Yoga, the delusion will leave the intellect and the result is Viveka and Vairagya. Now this shloka can be used to identify whether I have completed the sadhana of Karma Yoga also. It is a lingam shloka or a milestone shloka to check whether the sadhaka has completed Karma Yoga and is ready for Jnana Yoga. What is the lingam identifier? Vairagya. Now, what is the lingam or identification for a person to know that that person has completed Jnana Yoga and attained Jnana? Bhagavan gives the lingam in the next shloka. He says, when the intellect can stay on Atma at all times, then the sadhaka can claim to have completed Jnana Yoga also. Shruti vipratipannate yadastasyati nischala samadha achala buddhihi tada yogam avapsyasi. So that is what Bhagavan says in Shloka 53. And Bhagavan thus gave you can consider this as Lingam Shloka or the benefits, the rewards of Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga in Shloka 52 and 53. And with this, Bhagavan concludes the third topic, Karma Yoga, here. Then, now the fourth topic, Sthita Prajna. Now, Bhagavan gave the Sthita Prajna Lakshana and Sthita Prajna Upaya. Sthita Prajna Lakshana means definition of Sthita Prajna. Sthita Prajna Upaya means how to become a Sthita Prajna from Shloka 54 to 72 in this section. Now it started with Arjuna asking a question. Arjuna asked, how is Sthita Prajna? As in, who is a Sthita Prajna? Sthita Prajna is one who has gone through Karma Yoga, one who has gone through Jnana Yoga after that, and one who has attained Jnana Nishta also. He has been able to convert that Jnana into Jnana Nishta. How will that person look? How will this person behave? How will this person deal with Prarabdha? All these questions came up. He wanted all these questions, answers to all these questions. So, as I said, who is a sthita prajna? One who has clearly gained self-knowledge. One not only has got his knowledge, he has assimilated his knowledge, and he has been able to convert that intellectual knowledge that he has received into his emotional strength. And Bhagavan gave the lakshana as Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmanyeva atmana tushtaha sthita prajnastaduchyate. This is the definition of sthita prajna. Atmanyeva atmana tushtaha. One who is satisfied in the realization of the self. A person who can find happiness within himself. And this is moksha. What is moksha? I am happy with myself. Remaining in quietude and being contented with whatever that is happening around me is moksha. Being happy without any conditions is moksha. If our happiness is dependent on something or someone else, then it is samsara. And that dependent should not be even on the body. If something happens in the body, I'm still happy. That is moksha. If something happens to something nearby, I am unaffected, whether good or bad. And how can I be happy with myself? As long as we identify ourselves to be this body and mind, we can never be happy with ourselves. I can be only happy when I know my real self. Only when I know, only when I get Atma Jnana, only when I get Brahma Jnana, I know my real self, and then I can be happy with myself. Then Bhagavan talks about how a sthita prajna faces his prarabdha. And Bhagavan says he faces that with equanimity, samatvam. Dukkeshvanudvigna manaha sukeshu vigataspruhaha vitaragabhaya krodhaha stitadir muniruchyate. Bhagavan says samatvam, or equanimity of the mind, which means freedom from raga, bhaya, krodha. Vita, free from raga, bhaya, krodha, which is freedom from attachment, fear, and anger. Turbulences caused by attachment, fear, by anger, by jealousy, by pride. All of them do not come to a jnani. He enjoys samatvam. In spite of sort of so-called ups and downs in life, for him there is constant tranquility. Whatever life throws at him, he will be able to take it in an equanimous manner. That is sthita prajna. How he faces his prarabdha. Then sthita prajna upaya. Bhagavan talks about sthita prajna upaya. How to become a sthita prajna. What is the means to convert jnana into jnana nishta? Now Bhagavan says nididhyasana is the sadhana which will help to convert prajna into sthita prajna. Jnana to jnana nishta. What is nididhyasana? It is a form of dhyana, or called as Vedantic meditation. Now, apart from nididhyasana, Bhagavan gives two important sadhanas, shramaha and damaha, which is the mental discipline and sensory discipline. Damaha means indriya nigraha, sense mastery. And why is it important? Because if there's no sense control, we will let everything enter our mind through the sense organs. And therefore, it is important we have to control, we have to discipline our sense organs to ensure that no rubbish enters our mind. Because remember, the world can easily disturb us. What people say, what people talk about us, what people write about us, what we see in other people, we get easily disturbed. We should not allow that to happen. especially the words spoken by people. Those are the biggest problems for us. He said to me this way. He behaved in this manner. That will affect ourselves. And it's important. And what happens when we let the sense organs allow it to pass it into our mind? Now that can disturb our mind. The mind cannot assimilate Vedanta. Remember, when we say sense organs disciplining, we are not asking it to be suppressed. We cannot keep our ears and eyes closed at all times. It is about regulation. It is about disciplining them. Then the next one is shamaha. Shamaha is manonigraha, or thought discipline. And why is this important? Because certain thoughts are not deliberately entertained. We do not, they just come as they like. It could be because of purva janma vasanas and or our memory trying to play, and they can disturb our meditation as well. Here Bhagavan says, do not bother about the arrival of bad or negative thoughts, because it is not under our control. The first thought is not under our control. But whether we should patronize that thought, whether we should perpetuate that thought, whether we should actually feed more to the thought, that is something in our hands. We should nip them in the bud. We should we should not give more time, or we should not stay in that thought forever. We should just let that thought go out. We should, initially it will be difficult, so initially we should start focusing on something else. The moment this thought comes, we should force our mind to do something else or think about something else. If we are not able to get the mind to think, we'll have to get our sense organs help. So we'll have to start listening to some other thing, so that thought is replaced with these thoughts coming through the sense organs. Or if not, we should actually, even if the sense organs is not cooperating, then we should go to allow the body to do some activity, so that the mind is then focused on the physical activity that we are doing. But we should nip them in the bud. And so by using the sense organs, or we can try to do that by making sure that the sense organs are only used for the purpose of transaction. So what is required, only for those purposes we will use the sense organs. Thereby we'll be able to bring Indriya Nigraha and Mano Nigraha. Now, how is this Shamaha, Damaha and this Nididhyasanam related? Especially for Jnana to Jnana Nishta, Samaha and Damaha are like the diet. These are important things that we have to follow. We have to regularly keep in mind. The Nididhyasana is the actual medicine for converting this prajna to sthita prajna. So then Bhagavan talked about sthita prajna lakshana, again from Stoka 69 to 72. After talking about upaya, Bhagavan comes back to sthita prajna lakshana again in the last section. And here he talked about jnani being awake to what is night for an ajnani. Very kind of confusing sloka, so to speak. Here what Bhagavan says is, a jnani is awake to Advaita Tattva, while an ajnani is awake to a Dvaita Tattva. A jnani sees Advaita everywhere. An ajnani sees Dvandva everywhere, a pairs of opposites everywhere. He sees Dvaita everywhere. And not only that, a jnani does not have any binding desires. If the desires are there, it gets fulfilled, he's happy. If they are not, it is still fine for him. And that comes out of his self-sufficiency or purnatvam. So if we look at major traits of a sthita prajna or a sthira prajna, the main trait of a sthira prajna is samatvam and purnatvam. Equanimity and the sense of completeness. There is no craving for anything. And finally, Bhagavan concludes this chapter by saying that this Sthira Prajna is a free bird. That wherever he goes, he does not face any conflict. He enjoys freedom by living. Not only that, he enjoys freedom after death also. So a Sthira Prajna or a Jnani gets both Jivan Mukti as well as Videha Mukti. And Bhagavan concludes this chapter in Shloka 72. Esha Brahmi Sthiti Partha Nainam Prapya Vimuhyati. He says Sthita Prajna is Brahma Sthiti, that is Brahman Sthiti, one who does not get deluded in that state. Sthitva Syam Antakalepi Brahma Nirvana Mrichati. And what it means is, we need not worry that we have wasted so much of time in this life, so much year in this life. Even at this stage, even if we are able to get knowledge at this old age, the person gets, or the Jnani gets, Brahma Nirvanam, Videha Mukti. He is freed from Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam. There will be no rebirth for his, he will not be taking any new body. With this, the fourth and the final topic of the second chapter gets over. Thus, Bhagavan concludes chapter 2. This is the summary of chapter 2, what we saw just now. But we can say it is not only chapter 2, it is a summary of entire Vedanta. 4 topics were discussed here: Arjuna Sharanagati, Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, and Sthita Prajna Lakshana and Upaya. And even though there are 4 topics, the Jnana Yoga was the central theme, and therefore this chapter is called Sankhya Yoga. Sri Krishna Arpan Yoga Samasta Sukhino Om Purnamada. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Jai Shri Krishna, Hari Om. Thank you so much, Balaji Ramaswamiji, for really, summarizing chapter 2 of the Gita for us, telling us what are the various sections within that chapter 2 also. We will now open the floor to questions. So I'm going to give everyone a chance to unmute themselves. You can now unmute yourself. And whatever questions you have, please do post the questions. And our distinguished speaker today, will take those questions. You can also use the chat to submit questions. Everyone in the chat is saying clear explanation, which means I think you've resolved a lot of doubts, and no, people are not having any questions to ask.
I have a question.
Okay.
Okay. What are the steps or practices you advocate for towards Sthita Prajna Lakshana, attaining the Sthita Prajna status? Of course, Bhagavan says it. Can you elaborate it further?
First of all, Sthita Prajna is basically one who has got Jnana Nishta. So if we are talking about, first of all, we'll have to get Jnana before we can convert it into Jnana Nishta. Now, to get this Jnana, of course, we'll have to prepare our mind. I'm not sure whether you want to understand the steps from step 0 or only from converting Jnana to Jnana Nishta.
You can. We prefer from 0 because we are at the 0 level.
Sure. So the step 0 is the first step towards the whole spiritual journey. is to have a dharmic lifestyle. First and foremost is to actually follow dharma, which is to understand what, and from that dharma, once we start following dharma, and then we start following karma yoga. Now, what is karma yoga? Karma yoga, we can actually say it is a dharmic lifestyle. But karma yoga has also additional features that we can slowly build it in when we are actually following a lifestyle of dharma. And that is, one is Ishvara Arpana and Prasada Buddhi. Now, what is Ishvara Arpana is basically dedicating all my actions to Ishvara. As in, I have to perform my duties. I will do my duties without any fear or favor. I will not try to escape from my duties. At the same time, I don't do these duties for the other person whom I'm doing this duty for, supposedly. I will attribute, or I will dedicate all my duties to my Ishvara and say that I am doing it for him. And also means, Ishvara Arpana means also here, I do not expect any kind of return duty from the other person. If it comes, it comes. If it doesn't come also, I will not complain. So I will take, that is Ishvara Arpana, in terms of actually dedicating our actions, dedicating our duties only to Bhagavan, and not expecting the other person to reciprocate, even as a sense of gratitude. I do not expect anything in return. Now, that is for the duties. What about Kamya Karma? Kamya Karma being my actions that are actually done for my own, Artha Kama, as in I want to enjoy for my pleasure. I want to go to eat out. I want to eat some good food. I want to go for a walk. I want to go for entertainment. I want to go for a holiday. All these Kamya Karmas, for this, Bhagavan says the attitude that one must have is Prasada Buddhi. As in, make sure that whatever you get out of this, you take, whether it is good or bad. You want to go out for a walk, suddenly rain comes. Don't curse the rain. Don't feel unhappy about it. Take it as prasada. We go out, have just like, why is prasada? What do we do with prasada? Normally with prasada, we don't complain. When we go to a temple, we have this tirtham. The tirtham may be very cold, or the tirtham may have certain ingredients that we may not like it, but we still take it reverentially and then we take it to our eyes. And then we have it, and we feel blessed for having got this opportunity to take that prasada. So in the same way, any outcome that we get, we should be able to take it without complaint. And this is the second step, dharmic lifestyle with karma yoga. Then in terms of ensuring that we are progressing further, we should look at, while we are doing some of the activities, some of the innate nature of ours that has been accumulated over billions of births that we have taken would come to the fore. We will have to identify and reduce it in terms of, we can identify whether we are short-tempered, whether we feel jealous, whether we have this feeling of pride. All these things, we can note it down, and we can try to work towards it. And that can be actually slowly fixed as a part of karma yoga itself. The more and more we do karma yoga, the more these negative traits from our character will leave us, and we will be able to do it. Then once we are able to get this vairagya, as Bhagavan said in that Linga Shloka, we are able to have this vairagya. Vairagya here means nothing is conditioned for me, for my happiness, as in I am able to be with it or without it. That is vairagya. It is not about aversion towards anything. I am able to be with it or without it, without complaint, or without overly exuberant, or without feeling depressed. And once I get this vairagya, I get what is known as chitta shuddhi. My mind becomes pure. my mind has got that clarity. I'm having a clean mind. Now, only in this clean mind, if I actually put this Shastra in, the Tattvamasi, that you are that, and we talk about Jnana, and you talk about you are not the body, you are not the mind, and you are this Satchitananda Atma Swarupa. This knowledge will go into our mind and intellect. For that, of course, one of the things that we have to do is to also know to focus. So our intellect and our buddhi should be sharp, and our mind should also be able to focus on things when we get this knowledge. So meditation is another way of actually focusing our mind. So we do some pranayama and meditation slowly for a few minutes every day. Learn to live in solitude every day. Every day for 5 minutes, we don't have any gadgets, we don't have any books, we don't have any disturbance. We just need to learn to live by ourselves. We are able to see at this moment, the mind will throw up a lot of junk from its subconscious mind. We should be able to handle it. We should be able to know, first of all, what it is, and then try to understand it. Try to know what we need to work on. Remaining in solitude for 5 minutes every day is a very important sadhana. And then the meditation, because unless you are able to remain in solitude and you're able to control your thoughts or understand your thoughts, meditation will not work. So you learn to meditate for a few minutes every day. We cannot sit on meditation directly. It will be a problem. So first to learn to do some Parayana. Sit in a position, do Parayana, because that way you are chanting for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour. You are able to sit and chant for one particular place for a few minutes. That's good. Then you convert this Parayana to Japa. Then you sit in the same place and do Japa for a few minutes. That way you are able to regulate and discipline the mind for some more time. Then finally embark upon meditation. So solitude, followed by Parayana, followed by Japa, then followed by meditation. Once you get that meditation where the mind becomes very sharp, the mind becomes focused, at that point of time when we get this knowledge, we will be able to understand this. And of course, even after understanding or this knowledge, Bhagavan says we will have this problem of the sense organs and the mind. The sense organs are always facing outwards. The sense organs, Mano Nigraha and Indriya Nigraha, is very important for Nididhyasanam, but it is not only for Nididhyasanam, it is important throughout the sadhanas. Right when we are doing from Karma Yoga onwards, this sense organs and mental discipline is very important. We'll have to keep continuing it. It is something that we cannot, there are certain sadhanas that we can let go after reaching a particular stage. And there are certain sadhanas that cannot be let go even after we reach a particular stage. Mano Nigraha and Indriya Nigraha are sadhanas that we cannot let go of right from the beginning until the end. Because this has been with us for millions of births, and there are so many vasanas within it. It can actually erupt anytime, and therefore we'll have to have a constant watch over it. So then once we get into Jnana, to convert into Jnana Nishtha, to be able to sit and reflect upon the teachings, once we get this undoubted knowledge, once we are able to clarify the knowledge, once we are able to get an intellectual clarity in that knowledge through Mananam, then we can go to Nididhyasana. And there we have to again meditate on, or basically reflect upon the teachings and keep reminding ourselves of who we are. Keep reminding ourselves of the Atma Tattva and tell ourselves that I am this Atma, I am not this body and mind. And slowly reflect that upon our personality, emotional personality, the way we deal with people, the way we deal with others, things, we will be able to convert that into Jnana Nishtha at the end. I've done it very small. of course, I mean, I'm not sure whether I answered your question, Srinivasanji.
I should say it's quite a fair summary, taking step by step. So it's good that you are able to present this also in a summarized form. So it's a very elaborate process. Thank you. Anandji, perhaps you can take a screenshot of all the participants for our record.
Yes,
Please.
I'll definitely do that.
Yeah.
Yes. So can I request everyone to please come on video so that we can have a quick screenshot of everyone who has attended. And you can also keep thinking of questions that you want to ask in the meanwhile, while everyone is coming on the video. Thank you. I see a lot of you coming on video. Okay, I think we have as many people as we can get on video. So let me take a screenshot. So everyone can give a nice smile and say, Jai Shri Krishna.
Jai Shri Krishna.
Thank you. Okay, the floor is open to any more questions.
Jai Shri Krishna, my name is Archana. I have a question.
Yes.
This is with regard to the initial section on karma phala. So, what I understood was that the Atma does not bear fruits of our actions. But when we talk about rebirth, then we say like sometimes we bear the fruit of our actions in the previous birth. That means the Atma carries those actions with it to the next body. Is my understanding correct or?
Okay. So according according to Advaita, Atma is only one. There is only one Atma. And that Atma is all pervading. And for each one of us, we have what is known as reflected consciousness. I'm not going to go very deep. I'm going to try to see if I can answer it in a very short manner. We have what is known as reflected consciousness. Basically, we have a mind which is inside us, which is sukshma, which is subtle. Now, this mind has got the capacity to reflect Atma. Now, this reflected mind is what goes from the reflected consciousness plus the mind is what goes from one body to another body. When it leaves this present body, it's called as death. When it enters a new body, it is called as birth. Now, the mind and the reflected consciousness, there is actually Sukshma Sarina, Karana Sharira. There are two concepts to it, both of them which actually go leave the body and take another body. So when we say this Papa or Punya, what we carry forward, it is all in the Sukshma Karana Sharira, which we are carrying forward. The Atma is ever present, always there, Sarvagataha, Nityaha, it does not die, it is only one. Atma Ekaha. That is why we call this Advaitam. There is no second one. Now, the example for this reflected consciousness is something that I can give, like you see a sun. Now, the sun is one, right? Then you have a mirror. If you break the mirror into multiple pieces, now each mirror will be able to reflect one sun. Each mirror, you will be able to see a sun. Now, are these sun real? No, they are not real. They are just a reflection. But they too have the capacity to produce light because of the reflection. They do not have original light, but if you actually project this mirror into a dark room, that sun from the mirror will be able to give light to that room. In the same way, the Atma, which is reflected on this body, is able to be sentient because of this reflection. But if each of the mirror thinks that I am individual, I am each of the sun thinks that I know this mirror is round, this mirror is curved, that this is broken, this is big, this is dirty. But the sun in the mirror needs to know that it is not real. The real sun, I am the real sun, which is all pervading, which is only one. And that is what Advaita is about. Getting that jnana, that I am that Atma, Satchidananda Atma. I am ever present, and these are not real. I am the real sun there. Okay. So to answer your question, what comes from Janma to Janma is the Papa and Punya that are stored in the Sukshma Karana Sharira, you can say, which goes from one Janma to another Janma. It is only the mind which travels from one body to another body. So this physical body is only for this life. But the mind that we have has been there for millions of years, has been there for millions of births. Sorry?
That mind is what we call the chitta.
Yes, chitta is memory. It's one part of the antakarana. So mano, buddhi, ahankara, chitta. All four becomes part of one antakarana. That's why in Adi Shankara Stotra will say mano, buddhi, ahankara, chittana na cha shrotra jihve, na cha gran netre, na cha vyoma bhumir, na tejo, na vayuhu. Chidananda rupa shivoham shivoham. Mano, buddhi, ahankara, chittani, deham. Yeah.
So when we talk of moksha,
Yeah.
so is it like this antakaran gets released, or because Atma is, if it's all pervading, it's all pervading.
Yep.
So
So what
moksha,
happens during moksha? In death, what happens? This physical body, it merges with the panchabhutas of the world, isn't it? This physical body goes back to mud and fire and air and becomes part of every panchabhutas. What happens during moksha is the sukshma and the karana shariras are also made of panchabhutas. They are made of subtle panchabhutas. So when at the moksha time, once we understand that Atma is, I am that Atma, this sukshma panchabhuta, these sukshma sharira and the karana shariras, they also merge with sukshma panchabhutas of the universe. And they merge there. And that is what happens during moksha.
Thank you, Balaji. This is like a very novel concept for me. And I feel so grateful, so fortunate I could attend this lecture today. You have definitely explained the whole of chapter 2 very well, the way you divided in 2 sections. But I would say, yeah, I mean, interpretations are aplenty, but the points I'm carrying today are very novel for me. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We have a few more minutes. If anyone else has another question, this would be a good opportunity to ask those questions of our distinguished speaker today. Okay, while we are...
I have a question.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. So, hi, Balaji. Just want to check with you. Because many a time what happens is that we see that we are going on the right path, but something happens, the life takes over, what happens in this world takes over, and we slip off from the path. Are we then adding, we go back on the, go back to the spirituality, go back to that state of, being, having vairagya, then, but does it mean that because of the in between we slip up, does it add to our karma where, we slip up, and are we, it's like, you climb up a few stairs, then take a few steps back, does it mean that we are associated with the karma where we step back about what is happening around us because of that? Even though we continue with our journey, but there is a pause or there is a, we take a different route and then we come back to the does it happen? Does it mean that our karma, we carry that karma of straying away from the path?
Okay. So good question. So if I understand this, we are in the spiritual path, we are doing karma yoga, we are trying to progress spiritually, but in between our vasanas or whatever it is, we are not able to go down, and then we do some karma which is not karma yoga. It could be any of this kamya or nishidha karma, and then we go behind in our spiritual ladder, so to speak. Is that going to affect us? Is that going to drag us down? Is that your question? Is that going to drag us down, or will we be facing the fruits of that karma? Is that what your question?
Yes. Are we, whether it is good or bad karma, are we
Going to face the fruits of the karma?
Yeah.
Answer is yes, we will.
Okay.
The question is whether we should be worried about it. No. As long as we are in this path, there will be always slippages. Nobody can say that they had attained this with the most least effort directly. If they had attained that with very minimum effort, that is because they have been able to do that struggles in their previous janmas. So it is not a question of, getting it right the first time. It is a question of being consistent. It is a question of being, even when we fall down, we have to lift ourselves up and then proceed on this. Bhagavan says, if you follow karma yoga, swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Even if you follow dharma, karma yoga a little bit, it will remove fear from your mind in a big manner. The biggest fear is the fear of death. But it will remove all kinds of fears. So, question is, yes, if we if we do karma, whether we will be facing the fruits of action, yes, we will. Whether we should be worried about it, no. Because as long as we are on the path, and then Bhagavan goes to say in the 6th chapter, if a person is actually being able to be in this path, spiritual path for a long duration, and he is very sincere, and he is not able to achieve what he needs to achieve in this janma, then he promises a couple of things. First and foremost, he says, in the next birth, you will be born as a human, because the next birth is not guaranteed as a human for us. Just because we are born as a human in this birth, it does not guarantee a human birth in the next life. So Bhagavan says, I guarantee you a human birth. The second thing he promises is you will be in the same state of knowledge. You will have the same state of knowledge as what you had built until now, or you will have the same mental makeup. And he also promises a conducive atmosphere for us to continue our spiritual practices. And in fact, he promises two things there. He says, if you have done punya, you will be able to be in a reasonably rich family where you need not worry about the next meal, and you will be able to continue your practice, spiritual practice. Or if you have done more punya, if you have done a lot of punya, then I promise you a birth in the poor family. But everyone around you will be spiritually focused. So that you need not search for a guru, you need not search for a conducive atmosphere. Everyone in the family is actually you will be able to accelerate faster in the spiritual path. So this is Yoga Bhrashta section in chapter 6, Bhagavan talks about. So we need not worry about whether we are falling down. The question is how quickly are we able to get up is the answer. In fact, one of the things that Swami Paramatmananda says in terms of karma yoga, as we do karma yoga, question is, okay, at the end of karma yoga, I know that vairagya, once I attain vairagya, I have reached that stage. But how do I know I am progressing in karma yoga? Swamiji uses, Swami Paramarthananda uses FIR. Basically, he talks about FIR, which is the frequency, intensity, and recovery. Is it coming down? The frequency of my disturbances, the frequency that I am facing, in the frequency of the issues that I am facing with regards to my mind, whether it is jealousy, pride, my unhappiness, aversion, attachment, the mental disturbances, is the frequency coming down? That means I'm progressing. The intensity at which it comes, is it coming down? Then I'm progressing. The recovery time for me to come back to my original state and continue my sadhanas, is the recovery time getting faster? Is the recovery time getting shorter? Yes, then I am progressing. So that is how we measure. But failure is part of every practice. Abhyasam, vairagyam. Abhyasam, Bhagavan says, abhyasam is important. Practicing it is important. I hope I answered.
Just a follow up. In this case, right? Because in our tradition, like samsara is one of the critical factor as part of our karma, right? But when we get into our samsara, we naturally accumulate, that vairagya and other things that falls through. Does it mean that you don't get into samsara so that you don't accumulate this kind of karma where your attachment and everything is there? Is that I mean, because nowadays many of our current generation don't want to get married and be burdened with such things. So are we saying that that samsara is not the right path?
Okay, what is samsara according to Bhagavad Gita or our Shastras is, samsara is not about getting into grihastha-ashrama. That is not samsara. If we are taking the samsara to be this grihastha-ashrama, that is different. That there is a separate word for it, grihastha-ashrama. Samsara is about the problems that we face in our life mentally in our own mind, which is raga dvesha, which is attachment and aversion, or we can say kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya. That is also samsara. The feeling of attachment, anger, the hoarding nature, the pride, the jealousy, these are called samsara. This is called a samsara. Now, every one of us, we are born in samsara. We have this samsara. The moment we are born, we are in samsara. How to get out of this samsara is what Bhagavan teaches in terms of what the spiritual practices that we have to do. Now, whether you marry, whether you don't marry, we are in samsara. That grihastha-ashrama has nothing to do with this samsara. And if you are married, if you are not married, these problems of kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, as long as we have them, we are still in samsara. We should still pursue this one. And this spiritual practice or spiritual growth is not about changing anyone here. It is about changing oneself. It is not about the world. It is about me. It is not about how the others behave. It is how I react to their behavior. That is all is about spirituality. I hope I answered. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for first the clear summary of the chapter, and then addressing questions of the devotees one after another. Thank you so much, Balaji. I have a couple of information about Gita Jayanti, which I will quickly share now. Able to see my screen. Just a reminder, we had International Gita Forum in June. The videos from the lectures by Swami Siddhartmananda are there on Gita Jayanti's YouTube channel. Please do access them, and please do share the links with your friends and family so that everyone can gain the benefit of it. The next event, key event that is upcoming, is the Gita Havan on the 27th of July. Again, as I had mentioned before, please do join in large numbers for the Gita Havan. Everyone will have a chance to offer Ahuti into the sacred fire. So please request your friends and family also to join. Swami Abhyayananda of Chinmaya Mission will be giving a short talk on the importance of Bhagavad Gita towards the end of the Havan around 12 o'clock. So please be present for that also. Following the Havan, the next key event in the Gita Jayanti calendar is Krishna Manjari. This is exploring Gita and the teachings of Bhagavan Shri Krishna through performing arts and also visual arts. So this time we have Shri Spurti Rao, who is going to be enthralling us with a bhajan concert. We will also have performance by members of Bengali Association of Singapore, who are the lead organization for this year. Tickets are available, $10 and $50 tickets. Please go to gitajayanti.org.sg and please purchase your tickets today. So these are the two main events. We will keep you updated on other events as they come by. Please always go to our website so that you can get the most current information about the various activities that are happening under the Gita Jayanti umbrella. We will conclude today's wonderful Parayan and Satsang with some closing prayers. I will invite Sanyaji and Alkaji to please chant the closing prayers.
Balaji, sorry, Anand, 1 second. You can perhaps tell about the next session of when it is due and all the speakers. Yeah.
Sure. Yes. The next session of the Parayan will be on the 2nd of August. We will have Sri R.S. Ravi, who is also a wonderful Singapore-based Gita and Vedanta teacher. We will be chanting chapter 3, and he will also be giving us a wonderful summary of chapter 3 of the Gita, Karma Yoga. Some of it Shri Balaji has elaborated today. We will see that in depth in the lecture on Karma Yoga on the 2nd of August. So please do join in. We will begin as usual at 10:30 a.m. Over to you, Sanyaji and Alkaji, for the closing prayers.
Okay, thank you. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kashchit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet, Asato Ma Sadgamaya, Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityor Ma Amritangamaya. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Shri Krishnarpanamastu.
Thank you, everyone, for joining today's session. Special thanks to our speaker of the day, Shri Balaji Ramaswamy. Thank you so much. Jai
As
Shri
well
Krishna.
as the chanters.
As well as the chanters, yes. Thank you for setting us, giving us the right mood, the right atmosphere to listen to Shri Balaji's chant. See you again on the 2nd of August. Jai Shri Krishna.
Thank you, Jai Shri Krishna, Narayan Narayan.